Tom sat alone in the cockpit of his ship. The stars outside the window blinked like tiny lights. But they did not cheer him up. He had been flying for 12 days without seeing another person. The long-distance cargo job sounded exciting when he first accepted it. Now, it was just silence, empty space, and machines. Tom turned on the ship's recorder. He often sent voice messages to his friend Mike back on Station 4. It helped him feel less lonely. He clicked the red button and smiled. Captain Tom. Reporting. Still alive. Still bored. Cargo still smells like dried fish, he said. Then he added in a silly voice, I really need a co-pilot. Maybe I'll hire one of those soft alien things with claws. I'll call her Cuddle Claws. She'll fly the ship and keep me warm. He laughed and sent the message. Later that night, Tom sat in the pilot's seat with a blanket over his legs. The ship hummed quietly. He looked at a photo of Earth on his dashboard. He missed the feeling of wind, trees, and people. His ship, the Sunbeam, was old but strong. It carried food, parts, and tools to far human stations. Tom was careful with it. He knew the ship better than any person. He even talked to it sometimes. You know what, Bean? He said, maybe I should get a robot or something, or maybe Cuddle Claws can come true. Wouldn't that be funny? The next day, Tom landed on Ice Rock 17. It was a tiny frozen planet used for fuel stops. No life, just a small outpost run by machines. He stepped out wearing his warm suit and loaded new fuel tanks. The wind was sharp and fast. As he walked back into the ship, something felt strange. The door had been left open. He was sure he had closed it. Tom checked the controls. Everything looked normal. He shrugged and went to rest in his sleeping cabin. He lay under the blanket and closed his eyes. He woke up to a strange noise. Something small was moving near his feet. At first, he thought it was a dream. Then he felt soft fur against his leg. He sat up fast. A small creature stood at the foot of his bed. It had soft gray fur, round ears, and for paws. Its eyes were big and green. It did not growl or hiss. It just stared at him, holding the edge of his blanket. Tom froze. The creature tilted its head. Then it made a sound. Cuddle Claws. Tom blinked. What he said slowly. The creature repeated. Cuddle Claws. Tom stared in shock. He got out of bed slowly and looked at the animal. It did not run. Instead, it jumped up and wrapped itself in the blanket. Okay, calm down, Tom said. Where did you come from? The creature made a soft purring noise. It closed its eyes and rested its head on the pillow. Tom walked to the control room and scanned the ship. Nothing showed up. No breach, no damage. He checked the logs. The door had opened for 7 seconds while he was outside. Something had slipped in. He looked back at the creature. Did you hear my message? He asked. Are you real? The creature sat up and pressed a button on the control panel. The ship's lights dimmed. Tom jumped back. You know what you're doing. The creature gave a soft chirp. It pulled the blanket closer and sat in the co-pilot seat. All right, Tom said. I'm talking to a fuzzy alien who wants my blanket and knows ship controls. This is new. He tried to contact the nearest human post. No one answered. The signal was weak in this zone. He left a message anyway. This is Tom from Sunbeam. I picked up a passenger. Not human. Not dangerous. Seems smart. Responds to speech. Calling herself Cuddle Claws. No joke. He turned back to the creature. Do you want to leave? He asked. The creature did not move. It simply pointed at the stars. Tom laughed. You want to fly with me? The creature nodded once. Tom rubbed his head. Well, I guess I have a co-pilot now. That night, the creature refused to sleep anywhere except under the blanket. Tom led her. He stayed awake, staring at the stars. He did not understand how this was happening, but it made him feel something he had not felt in a long time. He did not feel alone. Tom woke up the next morning to find the strange creature already sitting in the co-pilot seat. She wore his blanket like a cape and pressed buttons like she had done it for years. Her small paws moved fast, but carefully. Her ears turned at every sound from the ship's systems. Tom rubbed his eyes. Good morning, Cuddle Claws. Or do you have another name? The creature looked at him and made a soft sound like a hum. She then pointed to herself and said, Z. Tom smiled. Z, oh, that's better than cuddle claws. All right, Z. What are you doing to my ship? Z chirped and brought up the navigation map. She zoomed in on a system far to the east of their route. It was a dead zone. No stations, no signals, just empty space. She tapped it twice. Tom frowned. You want to go there? Z gave a short nod. I can't, Tom said. I have cargo to deliver to Station 9. Then I head back to Station 4. No side trips. Z didn't argue. She turned off the screen and went back to wrapping herself. In the blanket, Tom shook his head and started his morning check. The ship's systems were fine. Z hadn't broken anything. In fact, she had fixed a minor cooling issue in the engine room. Tom hadn't even noticed it. The system logs showed her actions, all smart and careful. How do you know this stuff? He asked her. Z looked at him and blinked slowly. She pointed to the screen, then to her head. You learn fast. Or you already knew, Tom said. Either way, I'm starting to think you're more than just cute during the flight. Tom gave Z a task. He showed her how to monitor cargo weight and signal updates. She picked it up in less than 5 minutes. She even added a small update to the system that made his work easier. By noon, Z had become a real co-pilot. She didn't speak much, but she listened and responded with sounds and short words. When Tom taught her a new word, she repeated it until it was perfect. They reached a small refuel station on a moon called Dust Rock. The station had only 2 workers. Tom stepped out and stretched his legs. Z stayed inside. One of the workers, a short man with tired eyes, looked at the ship. You flying solo? Not really, Tom said. I picked up a guess. The man laughed. You picked up trouble? I bet no, Tom said. She's quiet, smart, and helps with the ship. The man didn't believe him. What is it, a pet, a robot? Tom paused. I think she's an alien, but she's not dangerous. She talks a little, calls herself Z. The man stared at him. You okay in the head? Pilot Tom didn't answer. He took his fuel receipt and walked back to the ship. Z was waiting at the door. She looked up at him and made a soft sound. Tom smiled. Yeah, I know. He didn't believe me. Z gave a short purr and climbed back into the ship. As they flew again, Tom asked, Why? Me, why did you come to my ship? Z didn't answer right away. She touched the recorder panel and played a clip. It was Tom's own voice from his old message. I'll call her Cuddle Claws. She'll fly the ship and keep me warm. Tom stared at the panel. You heard that? You really heard it? Z nodded. Then she pointed to herself, then to him. You. We're listening. Z nodded again. She pointed to her ear, then to space. Tom thought for a moment. You heard my voice across space. You understood it, and you came here. Z said. Lonely. Tom sat back. The word hit him. He had said it many times to himself, but hearing it from Z made it feel real. You were lonely. To Z nodded. Tom said nothing for a while. He focused on flying. The silence was peaceful, not empty like before. Later, while passing through a quiet sector, they hit sudden turbulence. A debris cloud had not been marked on the map. The ship shook hard. Tom tried to steer around it, but the engines were struggling. Z jumped into action. She adjusted 3 settings on the power grid and redirected energy to the front shields. The ship steadied. Tom stared at her. How did you know to do that? Z looked at the control panel and tapped it twice. She said, Learn. You watched, and you learned all this. Z nodded. Tom laughed. You're better than most humans I've flown with. Z looked proud. She wrapped herself tighter in the blanket and leaned back in the seat. That night, Tom sat in the dark, watching the stars again. Z was asleep, curled in the blanket near the heater. He whispered, Maybe this isn't such a bad job anymore. Tom was used to flying alone. He knew every sound the ship made and every blink on the screen. But now things were different. Z had changed everything. She had her own seat, her own blanket, and her own duties on the ship. In just a few days, Z had learned to manage flight paths, fix system errors, and adjust energy flows better than most trained workers. Tom watched her work and felt both amazed and confused. Z didn't talk much. She still used short words and simple sounds, but she understood far more than she could say. Tom noticed she always watched him closely when he explained something. She learned fast, like a machine, but she moved with emotion like a person. One morning, Tom decided to test her. "We're going to pass through an asteroid zone today," he said. "Let's see how well you can fly." Z looked at the map. She traced a path with her paw, avoiding the largest rocks and slowing near clusters. Tom smiled. "That's better than my route." "All right, you take the controls. I'll watch." Z nodded and took the pilot seat. Her small paws gripped the handles. Her ears twitched as she listened to the engines. The ship entered the asteroid zone. Tom watched the screen as rocks floated all around them. Z moved the ship left, then up, then forward with smooth motions. She didn't panic when a rock came close. She adjusted speed and angle with perfect timing. The ship passed through without a single hit. Tom clapped. "Z, you did it. That was amazing." Z smiled and leaned back in her chair. She looked proud. Tom gave her a treat from the food pack, a small dried fruit she liked. Z took it and made a happy sound. "You're not just a smart animal," Tom said. "You're something special." Later, they stopped at a science post on a small planet called Greyhold. Tom needed to drop off some tools and fuel cells. He decided to ask the scientists if they could scan Z. A tall woman named Dr. Mena greeted him. She wore glasses and had a serious face. "You brought a guest," she said, looking at Z. Double quotes, "Yes." Tom replied, "I found her near Ice Rock 17. She came onto my ship. She's been flying with me since then." Dr. Mena raised an eyebrow. "What is she, a pet?" Tom shook his head. "She speaks a little. She flies the ship better than I do." "I think she's intelligent." Dr. Mena asked, "Has anyone else seen her?" "Not really," Tom said. "Most people think I'm joking, but I'm not." Dr. Mena led them to the lab. Z looked around, alert but calm. She stepped onto the scanner table when asked. The scan took a few minutes. Dr. Mena looked at the results. Her eyes widened. "She has a complex brain, more advanced than any animal we know. Her heart rate is steady. Her body structure is built for movement and control. She's not like anything I've studied before." Z sat on the table, watching them. Tom asked, "Can you tell where she's from?" Dr. Mena shook her head. "Nothing matches in our data. She's not from any known system." Z pointed to the screen, then to herself, then to the stars. "She's trying to show us," Tom said. Z tapped the map and zoomed into a quiet area of space. She tapped a small star with no name. Dr. Mena said, "That system has never been explored. No signals, no reports." Tom looked at Z. "Is that your home?" Z nodded once. Dr. Mena leaned closer. "She understands everything we say. That's not an animal. That's a person." Z made a sound. "Z, co-pilot." Tom smiled. "Yes, you or?" Dr. Mena stepped back. "This changes everything. We need to tell the council. They should meet her." Z looked unsure. She wrapped herself in her blanket and leaned against Tom's side. Tom said, "Maybe not yet. Let her decide." Z didn't speak, but she gave a small nod. She wanted time. That night, Tom and Z rested in the ship. Tom looked at the stars and thought about what Dr. Mena said. "You're not a pet, Z," he said. "You're my partner." "My friend," Z said. Tom, Z, co-pilot. They smiled at each other. The ship felt warmer than before. It no longer felt like just a machine. It felt like home. Tom and Z had been flying together for almost a month. The cargo deliveries were going well. Z now handled most of the short-range communication, scanned new spacebots, and updated system maps. She had even changed the layout of the control screen to make it easier to use. Tom often forgot what life was like before Z joined him. He no longer felt tired or bored. Every day with her was a new surprise. She would point to strange stars and whisper names he did not understand. She would fix problems in the ship before he even noticed them. But peace does not last long in deep space. One evening, while passing through a dark part of Sector 8, a warning light started blinking on the ship's control panel. Tom looked at the screen. "That's not normal. Something is tracking us." Z ran a scan. Her face became serious. She pointed at a fast-moving object behind them. It was a ship with no name, no ID, and no response to signals. "Pirates," Tom said. "We have to move." He took control of the ship and turned hard to the left. The engines roared. Z jumped into her seat and started pressing buttons fast. She changed the energy flow to power the boosters. The enemy ship followed. A loud alarm rang inside the Sunbeam. Lasers flew past them. Lighting up the dark sky. Tom shouted, "We can't outrun them. Our ship is too heavy." Z looked at the cargo list. She pointed at a storage box and then at the emergency release switch. Tom shook his head. "You want to drop cargo, that's half the payment." Z made a sharp sound and pointed again. She was not asking. She was telling him it was the only way. Tom trusted her. He hit the release. One storage box dropped into space. It exploded behind them. The enemy ship turned slightly to avoid the blast. To use the moment to redirect all power to the shields. Then she opened the vent system to release heat. The ship became hard to track. Tom moved the ship into a narrow gap between two drifting rocks. The enemy ship slowed down. Unsure of their path, Z pressed 3 buttons and turned off all outside lights. The Sunbeam became invisible in the dark. They waited in silence. Tom whispered, "Did we lose them?" Z slowly turned on the outside camera. The enemy ship was searching the wrong direction. After a few minutes, it turned away and jumped into warp. Tom let out a deep breath. "We're safe." That was to close. Z looked calm again. She tapped the screen and showed a hidden path back to the main route. It was longer, but safer. Tom followed it. The ship moved through quiet space, away from the danger. After a while, Tom looked at Z. "You saved us." Again Z gave a small smile. She said, "Team." Tom nodded. "Yes, team." They stopped at a small rest station on a moon called Clay Point. Tom sent a report to his company. He told them about the lost cargo and the pirate attack. He left Z's name out. Later, while eating a small dinner, Z surprised him. She connected to the station's system and opened a secret folder. Tom asked, "What is that?" Z pointed at the words. It was a message from someone inside the pirate group. It was written in a strange code, but Z broke it easily. Tom read it. "They knew I was coming. They planned the attack. Someone gave them my route." Z nodded. She pointed at the name of a station worker from Station 5. Tom was shocked. "He used to work with my old boss. I trusted him." Z made a sharp sound. She was angry. Tom said, "We can't go back there. We need to report this to the main command." Z opened the map again. She showed a faster route to the Central Fleet base. It was hidden behind old trade routes, but safe from attacks. Tom looked at her. "You know these paths. Your people used them, didn't they?" Z nodded. Tom asked, "Why did you never tell anyone?" Z looked at the stars. Then she said one word. "Fear." Tom sat quietly. He understood. Not all people would welcome someone like Z. Many would fear her or try to use her. But Z had chosen to help. She had risked her safety to protect Tom. He said, "You're not alone anymore. I'll make sure of that." Z leaned against him and closed her eyes. The next day, they flew toward the fleet base. Tom sent a full report, including the trader's name and the attack details. He still left Z's name out, but he added a line. "I had help from a skilled co-pilot. I owe her my life." As the ship flew through calm space, Z sat in her seat with the blanket over her shoulders. She watched the stars with silent eyes. Tom smiled and said, "You still want the blanket even after a space fight?" Z nodded. Warm. Tom laughed. "All right, co-pilot, blanket is yours." Tom and Z arrived at the Central Fleet base after 3 days of safe travel. The base floated above a quiet planet and was protected by heavy shields and patrol ships. Only trusted pilots were allowed to land there. As the Sunbeam landed, Tom looked at Z. She sat beside him with her blanket over her shoulders and her eyes fixed on the large buildings. "Outside, you ready for this?" Tom asked. Z nodded, but her ears twitched. She was alert. Tom had sent a message earlier to request a private meeting with the Fleet Council. He told them about the attack, the traitor, and the secret plan that almost cost him his life. He also asked to share new information, but he had not mentioned Z by name. 2 officers met them at the landing dock. One was an older woman named Chief Lana. The other was a younger man named Grant. They both wore clean uniforms and serious looks. "Welcome, Pilot Tom," said Chief Lana. "We got your message. Please follow us." Z followed quietly. Her Blanket was folded in her arms now. She walked with light steps, almost soundless. The officers looked at her but said nothing. Inside the meeting room, 7 council members sat around a large table. The room was bright and quiet. Tom stood straight. Z stood beside him. "Pilot Tom," said one of the council men, "your report was detailed and helpful. The traitor has been arrested. We thank you for that, but you said you had more to share." Tom nodded. "Yes, sir, I do. But I want you to hear it directly from the one who helped me." He stepped aside. Z stepped forward. The room became silent. Z looked around and then said, "Z, co-pilot, help Tom." The council members looked surprised. Chief Lana stood up. "Is this the creature from Ice Rock 17? Tom said. "She's not a creature. She's intelligent. She speaks, learns fast, and flies better than most trained pilots. She saved my life," one of the members said. "How long has she been with you?" "Almost 1 month." Tom answered. "She fixed the ship, tracked attackers, and found hidden pots in space. She even broke a secret message from the pirate group." A councilwoman said. "That is hard to believe." Z walked to the screen on the wall. She connected a small device and brought up maps, flight records, and attack scans. Then she played the pirate message in its full form, showing the name of the traitor and the planned route. The room was quiet again. The council members looked at each other. One of them asked, "Where did she come from?" Tom looked at Z. She walked back and answered, "Far. Other stars. Hidden." Another member asked, "Why come here?" Z answered, her voice lonely. "Chose Tom." Tom explained. "She heard one of my silly messages. I was joking about a co-pilot called Cuddle Claws. She picked up the signal and came to me." Chief Lana said, "That was not a smart choice, pilot. You invited something unknown into your ship." Tom stood firm. "She came in peace. She helped. Without asking for anything. She stayed loyal. If that is not enough, I don't know what is." The room fell silent again. Then the head of the council spoke. "She is not listed in any records. That means she belongs to a species unknown to us. She has access to flight paths, security logs, and base maps. That is a risk." Z stayed calm. Her eyes watched the speaker. "But she did not move," Tom said. "She never used her skills to harm us, only to protect. She could have escaped or attacked many times. She never did." Another councilman asked Z, "What do your people want from humans?" Z answered, "Nothing. We watch, we learn. We wait." "Why wait?" Z paused, then said, "Fear. Some hurt what they do not know." Tom felt those words deep in his chest. He knew they were true. Many humans feared the unknown. Chief Lana asked Z, "Are there more like you nearby?" Z nodded. "Many. All quiet. Will they come?" "Only if needed." The head of the council leaned forward. "We need time to understand. Z, you must stay here for now. You will not be locked. But we ask you not to leave the base until we learn more." Z looked at Tom. He gave her a small nod. "It's okay. It's just for now." Z said. "Stay after the meeting." Tom and Z were taken to a private room. It was clean and had a soft bed, 2 chairs, and a small window showing the stars. Tom sat down. Z wrapped herself in the blanket and sat beside him. "They didn't say yes," Tom said, "but they didn't say no either." "That's a start," Z said. "Watch first, trust later." Tom nodded. "I'll wait with you." Z leaned her head on his shoulder. The stars outside moved slowly as the base floated in space. Tom didn't know what would happen next, but he knew one thing. Z was no longer a joke. She was real. She was strong, and she was not going anywhere. Not without him. Days passed at the fleet base. Tom and Z stayed in the quiet room, waiting. The council studied her carefully. Scientists ran tests. Security officers watched the doors. Z was calm but restless. She spent hours looking at the stars outside the window. Sometimes she whispered names Tom did not know. One morning, Tom woke to loud alarms. He rushed to the window. Outside, red lights flashed on the base's shields. The warning system shouted, "Unknown fleet detected. Incoming ships. Prepare for defense." Tom grabbed his jacket. Z followed, wrapping the blanket tightly around her shoulders. At the command center, the council gathered. Screens showed large alien ships moving fast toward the base. The aliens were tall and armored. Their ships looked old but powerful, Chief. Lana said, "These are the Corn. They are aggressive and strong. They do not talk. They disable ships with strange energy weapons. They want to take control of our space." Tom looked at Z. "Do you know them?" Z's eyes grew wide. She whispered, "Yes, Corn. Dangerous. Hide. Watch." The council ordered all ships to prepare for battle. Tom asked to join the fight. He wanted Z with him. The council agreed but warned, "This is not a small fight. Be careful." Tom and Z climbed into the Sunbeam. The ship was upgraded with new shields and weapons. Z helped load the controls quickly. As they left the base, the sky was full of flashes. The Corn attacked with energy beams that stopped ships dead. In space, many ships drifted helplessly. Tom felt the power of the Sunbeam. The new shields held strong. Z worked the controls, moving power from engines to weapons and back to shields. The battle was fierce. The Corn ships moved fast and shot often. Tom and Z dodged and fired back. At one point, a Corn ship locked on them with a wide energy net. The Sunbeam began to slow. Trapped, Z pressed buttons fast. She rerouted power to the engines. The ship shuddered and broke free just in time. Tom smiled. "You saved us again," Z said. "Team fight." Tom laughed. "Best team after hours of battle." The fleet forced the Corn to retreat. The base was safe for now. Back on the base, the council asked Z to explain more about her people. She said, "My people watch. We hide because Corn hunt us. We want peace but must be ready." Tom added, "Z came to help humans because she saw the danger. She wants us to work together." The council slowly began to trust Z. They allowed her to move freely on the base. Scientists and pilots asked her questions. Z still kept some secrets. She did not talk about all her people or their full power. Tom felt proud of her. "You are more than a co-pilot. You are a friend and protector." Z smiled and pulled the blanket tighter. Tom asked, "Will your people come to help if the Corn return?" Z said, "Yes, but only if humans prove kind." Tom thought about that. "We have to show them we are ready." Z nodded. Together, strong. As night fell, Tom and Z sat near the window. The stars shone bright. Tom said, "Who knew a silly joke about cuddle claws would lead us here?" Z purred softly. Tom smiled. "Whatever happens next, we face it as a team." Z pressed his hand with her paw. The future was unknown, but Tom was not afraid. With Z, he was ready. The space was calm after the battle. Tom and Z stood on the deck of the fleet base. The stars shone bright and silent beyond the big windows. The Corn ships had retreated. Their threat was not gone, but the humans and their new friends had won a great victory. Tom looked at Z. She wrapped herself in her blanket, her eyes soft but strong. "Today was hard," Tom said, "but you were amazing out there." Z smiled and nodded. Together strong, the council called a meeting to decide the future. Scientists, leaders, and pilots gathered. Tom and Z were there to Chief Lana spoke first. "Thanks to the help from Z and her people, we held the line. The Corn were pushed back. Now, we must prepare for the future." The council invited Z's people to join humans openly. This was the first time the two species would work together in space. Z stood proudly. She said, "My people will help. We want peace." Tom felt hope grow inside him. The long, lonely flights were over. Now, he had friends and a family among the stars. Z became the first official alien ambassador to the human fleets. She shared her knowledge about safe routes, hidden dangers, and peaceful worlds. Tom and Z flew missions together. Their teamwork was unmatched. Z's speed and knowledge combined with Tom's courage and skill made them a strong team. Every night before they took off, Z would take the blanket and wrap herself in it. Tom would smile and say, "Here's your blanket, co-pilot." Z would purr happily and settle in her seat. One mission took them to a distant planet with strange glowing plants. The humans were trying to build a new outpost there. Z showed the team how to avoid dangerous areas. She helped fix broken machines with her quick paws. The humans called her a hero. Tom watched her and thought about the day he joked about Cuddle Claws. Who would have guessed a small, fuzzy alien would change his life so much? Their friendship grew deeper. Z trusted Tom, and Tom trusted Z. They were more than pilot and co-pilot. They were family. In quiet moments, Tom would tell Z stories about Earth, about forests, rivers, and the ocean. Z would listen, eyes wide with wonder. Z told Tom about her home star, a hidden place where her people waited and watched. She spoke of hope for a future where different species could live together. Tom knew there would be challenges ahead, but with Z by his side, he was ready for anything. As their ship flew through the stars, Tom looked at Z and said, "Thanks for coming to me, for being my co-pilot, for being my friend." Z smiled and wrapped herself tighter in the blanket. Together, they flew toward the unknown future, not alone, but as a team.